one of the things that C3 is charting right now for itself is to actually be, again, a local manufacturer. While it's always possible to grow infinitely large in one location and tie resources into that, that's not something that that does kind of create a sustainable community. And if you think about it, there's a business element to it. There's a lot of really great metropolitan areas that need access to really good materials. But you're also trying to go into a community and you're trying to source what they have available there and reconsume. In the world of recycled content, you're consuming their waste streams and their deconstruction debris back into the products that you're using in that community. And so our chart is actually over the next 5 years, up to, I think the number that we threw down in our mission is actually 2017, is to actually start regional manufacturing facilities. One of the great things with Artie's experience at El Dorado was that El Dorado had a vast franchising network, and there's a lot of history and a lot of experience with setting up franchises. So we talked about privately held businesses. I think that came up in the first round, and versus cooperatives. A franchise model still has that looks and feels of a natural I'm sorry, not natural, but a local ownership where we're going into a plant with, and right now in the construction industry, there's a lot of underutilized manufacturing facilities out there. So we're talking about building a plan to take the products that we design development into these different plants around the country and then starting to get them going so that in a 5-year period, we're actually not just making them here in the Northwest, but actually getting them out there nationwide. Possibly through franchising and licensing, something that we're exploring. I haven't seen a Men on a Mission conference yet, so I think that's because men, they do, and I don't want to throw out a gender profile or a stereotype here, but if you look at the word competition, and it's used in business, it's used in anthropology, it's used in biology, competing for resources. And you look at genders, men are competitive, and women have competitive streaks. Like I ran, I wanted to win, and my philosophy is as long as you keep score, it matters who wins. So I have that competitive nature to me, so don't get me wrong. But I think that as a gender, there is more of an inclination to be some collaborativeness and actually not see the threat in collaborating with somebody. Whereas in some gender specifics or gender biases, there may be a perceived threat. If I collaborate, I give away information, I'm talking too much, and I experience that, and it's not healthy, I don't think, and I think that there's opportunity where you're not actually trying to do harm to another business by saying let's talk about how we can be symbiotic with each other. So I never viewed that really honestly, but I do see that when I engage with women. Like I said, there's a Women on a Mission. We're talking about how to work together. We're exchanging ideas and things that work for us and things that don't work for us. You don't see that, I don't think, as often in a big group of men. Although, bless the men that are in the room. I think there's 4 of you this year. But I also think I remember hearing somebody talk about the balance, life balances. I remember when my boyfriend saw me with my kids for the first time, and it's drama, getting all of them together, getting to a game, getting this fed, that one needs clothes, that one needs all this, and just, he'd never been around children before, and he was just baffled by that. I was like, well, no, that's day, that's life. He tried impressing me the other day that he held my daughter and opened up the door with one hand, and I was just like, he never had on the door as he was getting mad. So I think that we don't think about that, but when we go home at times and we're juggling a lot of different things, that it's completely, within our nature to know that we can also juggle different ideas together and balance all those things together. And I always subscribe to something of, I don't like the tyranny of the or. Are you this or are you that? I always go and problem solve with the wicked question. How are you both? And I think that that's an engagement that women can actually see and feel and understand that, well, no, I'm not going to go to work or be a mother. I'm both, and I think that may be something that may be more
Yeah, I'll touch on that just because I was definitely the one that was that's my big issue is as women have grown into the workplace so much later in a timeline than men, we weren't given the opportunity to just be business. We had to be moms, we had to be caregivers, we We had to be at home, we had to fill what society almost gives us as a gender-based role while doing our job just as good, if not better, to prove we had a right to be there. And as that culture is developed, we created a work community that's a little different than just a true capitalist community, which, you know, if I kind of just blanket statement will say a lot of male business counterparts are in it purely for the capitalists, where we're here to create the sense of community. We want our fellow businessmen to do well because it's going to be word of mouth, and they need to do great so we can do great. And we all want to really embrace and grow with that. And I was realizing I was using all these female words. I think we even express it differently than men do, and we're willing to express those feelings and those ideas we have outside of the scope of just the bottom dollar, and I think that's a huge difference. And I've heard a couple of questions about how to find that balance, and it's been hard. You know, we gladly made that mistake where we spent too much on certain things and not enough on others, and had to backpedal. And it's been an interesting progression over the 4 years, and I'm in definitely a male-dominated area. Everybody thinks of men in dry cleaning, and she touched on it too. Like, women are here, and that's what I've had to change and make them realize that, you know, if we're 53% of the population, we are also probably that much of a business as we're out there striving.
Well, I know that consistently in my industry, working with interior products, and something that would be related to the landscape maintenance thing that you brought up as an example, is finishes and performance of materials. And invariably you can design a great, you know, interior countertop or tile that's eco-friendly, recycled content, and, you know, super awesome. And then when it goes into perform, your metric or your basis is still on the non-green, you know, products that are out there. So we would sit there and counsel and educate customers on their choices for sealers. You know, that's the big one. You have water-based, low VOC technologies versus solvent-based technologies, and spend a great deal of time and energy educating and communicating the benefits of, you know, one over the other. But you'd also hear from a fabricator, the guy that's doing the installation down the road, coming back going, okay, at the end of the day, my customer just wants to know what's going to perform the best. And unfortunately, as we might say with landscape maintenance, there are a lot of chemicals that are very effective at the end result, which is getting the weeds out, keeping the grass green, whatever it is. Just as that there's really effective sealers that protect against staining and etching and stuff like that are not the, you know, either socially preferred or the environmentally preferred. And so the gap in there is having the things that are both, the things that are environmentally, socially, health preferred, and perform and meet a minimum standard, a minimum level of performance. Otherwise, you're spending a great deal of time trying to close that gap through education, and that's a lot of dollars as a manufacturer or as a service company to do that. And so, you know, as I said, there's a lot of innovative opportunities that are out there that are actually, like you've taken on. You know, you have to get ahead of the game, you have to go down, and that's where the collaboration, it's like me reaching back and looking for recycled aggregates because they're not there, but that's the better way to go, and having to build that business as well. And so in a lot of these industries, you're limited by what you have, otherwise you're educating on that. And I don't think that we need to say that, again, I'm not a tyranny of your. It's going to be really great for you, or it's going to be really bad for you, and that's your only choices. They need to be both, and that's where the other innovations need to occur, I think, in business. The unsexy part of business, making things both. So.